Hey gamers, it's G from the corner, and I kind of wanted to sit back and have this conversation for a little bit, but I was kind of waiting to see if anything came out of Nintendo's investor meeting, if we got some leaks, some information regarding this topic before I sat down and really kind of had the thought, when will we be playing the Nintendo Switch 2? It's been announced. We have an April Direct set up for the system. And I mean, based on everything, we'd expect to be seeing the release date for the system there, but we are still a month and a half from that happening. So really, we're going to be in the dark about when this console's coming out for a little bit longer. So with that, I figured, why not speculate a little bit, We can have a little bit of fun trying to predict when the system will come out. I think I've done a video or two like this in the past, but that was more broad strokes. Back then, there had been no formal announcement made about the console. We didn't even really know what it looked like. I was just kind of shooting and thinking it could come out in March, it could come out in May, just for the heck of it. But now we have a pretty good idea. We've seen the thing, we're going to get a big blowout in a few months, and that communicates to us that we are not too far away, at least I don't think we are, from the full release of this thing. There are a number of people who still think it's coming out in the holiday, and to that I have two responses. One, this Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is very similar to the Switch presentation in my mind. In fact, the timeline is almost identical. We got a reveal trailer in mid-January, and now we are getting a full presentation a bit under 3 months later, just like with the original Switch, late October, mid-January, same time frame. And that was barely 7 weeks from launch. So we're probably getting pretty close. And what really seals the deal to me are all those experiences they're doing. You don't go around the world with your console doing events if you're 6 months from launch. That is something you do in the weeks leading up to the release. Okay, you're not going to do all that and then be like, okay, buy the console when it comes out in November, they could have a bunch of Switch 1 games lined up for the summer to announce, but that probably won't affect things too much. Everything's backwards compatible. They need to get this system onto store shelves, and then you'll kind of see the library slowly transition over to that. You'll get a few smaller games on Switch 1, maybe some that have already been announced, but the big stuff will be on Switch 2, and then by next year or the year after, everything will be Switch 2 exclusive, right? So just because, we know of some other games coming out in the year, or there could be some other games announced for the year, or there isn't a gun to the heads of Furukawa and co telling them they have to release it right now, that doesn't mean it can't come out in the first half of the year, if not the very early second half. I think holiday release is out of the question. I feel like there will be an initial push at launch in the time frame I'm about to outline, and there will be a big push again come the holidays with some other title to anchor that time frame. But that leads us back to the title of the video. When will the Switch 2 launch? Let's start from soonest to latest. Now, there have been some silly little rumblings, and I feel like a lot of this is wishful thinking, a lot of this is people trying to say things that have been said a while ago, but supposedly, this one retailer is in Hong Kong that apparently people are talking about for some reason. I don't know if they're reputable, I don't know what the deal is, but people keep talking about this. They're saying there will not be Switch 2 pre-orders. Somebody asked about pre-orders, they said, no, there's not going to be pre-orders because the system is releasing after the Direct, or within the month of April. The system will be out on store shelves, and Nintendo is saying that people will just be able to go in and pick up consoles day and date. There shouldn't be any sort of stock issues. Now, the stock thing is a whole nother topic, but basically what I described here was the Sega Saturn launch from 1995, where Sega went to E3 and said, yeah, it's out right now. That was such a big problem. They had so many issues with that, and granted, it doesn't seem like Nintendo would have similar issues in this situation, although I doubt retailers would all keep things hush-hush. If the system was really coming out the day after the Direct, we would probably find out the week before. But I think the thing that perplexes me the most about this rumor is, why would Nintendo do it? Why would they do it? This is the company that waited until well after manufacturing had begun to announce this thing, just so they could still get some holiday sales out of the Switch 1. Why would they all of a sudden jump ship completely and release the Switch 2 in early April? That doesn't make much sense to me. I'm sorry. I don't see the vision here. As much as I'd love it, because that means that we're playing a new Mario Kart in a month and a half. We're not playing a new Mario Kart in a month and a half. I'm sorry. It's not happening. I mean, maybe you're going to be playing the new Mario Kart in the month and a half if you're a journalist, or if you're going to the Switch 2 experience, you will be playing it very soon. But no, it's not going to be available on store shelves in that short of a time frame. In fact, I think we're going to have to jump well over a month to the next possible window the system come out. This one is a very interesting one. I've heard from a few people. It's a bit conspiracy-y, but you know what? I love me a good Nintendo conspiracy every once in a while based on release timings. Okay, so the Nintendo Switch 2's reveal trailer was 2 minutes and 22 seconds. The Nintendo Switch 2 Direct will be airing on April 2nd, 2025. Now, April 2nd, 2025 is 2 months, 2 weeks, and 2 days from that initial reveal on January 16th, or I think it's like maybe give or take a few days. I don't know, people were saying it was 2 days. Now, that is a lot of twos, though, right? Like, that's a lot of twos. It's a bit weird, you know? If we look at the calendar, there's actually a Thursday with 2 twos in it that comes up relatively soon after the Nintendo Switch Direct, May 22nd, Memorial Day weekend in America. And funnily enough, the original Nintendo Switch presentation aired 7 weeks before the launch of the console. And if we look at the calendar, May 22nd is in fact 7 weeks after April 2nd. So, May 22nd could be the release date of the Nintendo Switch 2, which means we are 3 months away from playing this thing. That'd be crazy. That'd honestly be crazy. Like, I would be thrilled and over the moon. Oh, and to top it off, those Nintendo Switch 2 experiences, you know, the hands-on before the system comes out, for some reason, there's an odd 2-week gap over that week, and I think it's the week before the week, mid to late May, there's nothing for that event, those events. There's none planned there. There's 2 still, as of yet, undated events. They could fall into that gap, or they could go a little bit later in June, but there is a gap there, and I don't know. It's a little suspect. I think it's possible. I think it makes sense. My immediate gut reaction to Switch 2 Direct in April was it comes out in June because 2 months was the time frame between the Switch 1 presentation and release, but, you know, 7 weeks is the exact time frame. So early April to late May is not impossible. It honestly isn't. It feels a bit wishful. I don't know. The idea that, again, it'll be here this soon, right? Like, we saw 5 seconds of Mario Kart, and you're going to expect me to believe that we're going to see a full trailer for that thing and be playing it within 7 weeks. It doesn't sound right to me. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it'll come out and it'll sell gangbusters, and Nintendo will keep marketing it for the next 10 years, and it'll continue to sell. It'll hit 50 million units like nothing. It's Mario Kart, and every other Switch launch title was announced at the original Switch presentation, aside from Breath of the Wild. That's the comparison I'm making here. But yeah, no, like, you know, the casual game, the eShop game, the third-party exclusive, those were all announced at the Switch presentation 7 weeks before launch. So, no reason why they can't just do a repeat of that. Again, I would love it. Part of me just doesn't see it as likely, but I think that might be a lot of just me, you know, being down on myself, so to speak. Like, I don't think it's likely because that sounds too good to be true, you know? It's like, if we're already here. Nah, come on, it's gotta be a little longer than that. So that leads us into June. Now, there's a few dates in June it could be. Again, Nintendo does Thursday releases now, so I expect the Switch 2 to launch on a Thursday. So that gives us the 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. It could be any of those, really. At this point, we're just kind of throwing numbers at a dartboard and seeing what sticks. Summer Games Fest is early in the month. I feel like Nintendo is probably going to want to avoid that because they have been avoiding it like the plague for the past few years. Whenever they have a Direct, they make sure to not do it in that time frame, and I feel like they would not do a console launch at the same time either. Maybe there will be some, you know, companies talking about Switch 2 there, some companies announcing their games for Switch 2 there, but nothing from Nintendo themselves, I don't think. Unless something drastic happens, they change their mind and they're actually going to have a big event at Summer Games Fest. They'll do Nintendo Live at Summer Games Fest. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I don't think this console comes out any later than July. You know, like, maybe early July, honestly. Like, I don't think they're going to go too deep into the summer. An August release sounds weird. I don't know what it is. You know, you would have told people years ago Nintendo's releasing a console in the first half of the year, they would have called you crazy. But, like, nowadays, that's whatever. The Switch came out in March. This will come out in, like, May or June, you know? Like, that sounds about right. But August just sounds weird. Because it's like, if it's August, you might as well do September, and then that cuts into the holidays. And again, I don't think they're doing these events too far from launch. Remember, the Switch 1 had plenty of events around the US, and I think in some other countries as well, before launch. And, you know, those were not super far out from... I mean, it was in that time frame between the Switch presentation and the release. So only a 7-week time frame. It could be the same thing here. Again, it could be a late May release. It could be a mid to late June release. I think right now I'm expecting mid to late June. It could be that June 26th date. That might be the prime time for Nintendo to drop this thing. They might be like, yeah, that's right after Summer Games Fest. You know, the summer's going to come in and let's kick off the summer with Mario Kart and then have the rest of the lineup they have planned for 2025 drop month to month, you know? But yeah, we still really don't have anything legitimate to go off other than it is launching this year. You know, journalists have said it's launching in, well, May and June, as I'm predicting in this video. But, you know, again, I'm going off of what I expect based on what I'm seeing. And, you know, a little bit of what other people are saying, obviously. I'm not going to ignore what the people in the know are likely to know about this console. So to recap, we are not getting a shadow drop in April. Get that idea out of your head. It's not happening. They're not doing that. No way they're doing that. If they're doing that, I will be shocked. I will be very, very shocked. If they're doing that, when they announce it, I will literally run out of the house. Whatever house we're watching it, I'm going to run out, drive straight to Walmart to go grab one, because I'm sorry, there's no way they're going to be like, yeah, it's out right now, go get it. Like, literally, like, hit the button that tells all the retailers, okay, time to start selling Switch 2s. Like, no. That is not happening. May 22nd? That's the first likely date. I think that could be it. You know, it feels a little too early, but that might just be me trying to set my expectations low. But it could be May 22nd. Then we get into June, and I think June is prime time for it. You know, mid to late June sounds about right to me. I feel like it could be June 26th. Maybe it's June 19th. Is that the day? I'm looking at the calendar right now. That's the day. Maybe it's June 19th. Maybe it's June 12th. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Early July. It could be July 3rd. July 10th is the absolute latest I think this thing is coming out, though. I don't think it's any later than that. Late July, just too far out, man. Why even do the direct in April? Why not do it later? Why not do all these events later? And anything later than that is it's just not happening. That's just not what the plan is here. But yeah, that's what I think right now. You know, everything's subject to change. We could get some crazy release date leaks in the next few weeks, but right now, you know, I figured might as well sit down and speculate this, because when am I going to get to speculate a Nintendo console and its release for the foreseeable future? I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a long time before that happens again. But yeah, you know, thanks for enjoying this little ramble. Keep yourselves cornered for more on the Switch 2 and Nintendo, and I will talk to you guys on the next one later.